These days there's a boatload of TWS earphones being launched almost every single day, so it's really important to know how to choose the right one for you. So let's talk about what really matters, what doesn't, and what is real, what is hype. And most of the stuff that I'm going to talk about also applies to other Bluetooth earphones like the neckbands or the headphones. So guys, if you are new to the channel, subscribe and also like this video. Let's begin. So let's talk about what's inside these earphones. There are a lot of Bluetooth chipset makers, but I'm listing a few here. Qualcomm and Realtek are widely popular, while other brands also started making their own proprietary chipsets like the Realme or the Huawei, just to name a few. Some brands don't even mention this detail for some reason, but actually, does it really matter? Should you really buy these earphones based on the chipsets they have? Well, not really, but hear me out. First up, I find that the Qualcomm chips are generally pretty good in terms of the connectivity, so you don't normally find any weird connection issues. Apart from that, I like a couple of features with the Qualcomm chips: better codec support and dual pairing and the dual mode. Now, dual pairing is very much underrated, but it allows you to connect to two devices simultaneously and it automatically switches from one device to another. Let's say I'm watching some media on my laptop and suddenly if I get a call on my phone, it automatically switches to the phone and pauses the media on the laptop. It happens automatically, you don't have to do anything. This similar feature was recently added for the AirPods on the Apple ecosystem with their latest software updates across their iPhones, iPads and Macs. That's an amazing ecosystem feature that Apple ecosystem wants to tout, but Qualcomm with its dual pairing offers this cross-platform, so it works across iDevices and Android as well, so there is no limitation. This is a very underrated feature like I said, but sadly most brands don't care to bring this feature, particularly in the budget range. The Boat Rockers 335 was probably the only product that came with this feature, around 2000 rupees. I'll reviewed it already, you can check it out, but apart from that, most brands, particularly in the TWS, they don't bring this feature. But recently Oneplus came with this quick switch feature, which is not real dual pairing, but you can at least switch between devices manually. This is, I believe, the dual mode as Qualcomm calls it, but Nokia on their latest neckbands calls this the harp mode. So naming is different, but pretty much the same function. So this is one of the reasons to get the Qualcomm chips, but keep in mind that not all of the Qualcomm chips come with these features. It also depends on the budget as well. Now let's talk about the codecs and the practical scenario. First up, if you have an iPhone, just don't even care about the aptX or other codecs because iPhone doesn't support them and it only uses the AAC codec and it is well optimized with the Apple's music. Now with that out of the way, let's look at the codecs. Here's a look at the bandwidth and how much data each codec is capable of pushing. On paper it looks pretty simple, but there are a lot of other variables like your device should be compatible and capable enough, the audio bitrate or the audio quality that you're listening to, and more importantly the sound signature of that particular product. For example, the Oppo M31 came with this LDAC codec, which is known to be the best codec, but most budget phones are not capable to utilize it at the maximum level. Let me explain. It has three modes. Most budget phones cannot handle that high performance mode, so they switch to a more medium setting or even the adaptive mode, which is the minimum setting. Although most phones these days come with the aptX support, but basically make sure that your device is also capable enough. Another important thing is the audio source. Most people these days stream music and generally the best audio quality is around 256 to 320 kbps on most services. So stretching too much on the codec doesn't make sense unless you have some high-end service like the Tidal, or you have high quality audio source files like the FLAC ones. It shouldn't really matter. So practically aptX or the AAC should do the job just fine. I find the AAC to be pretty good and almost comparable to the aptX. I did not notice any difference between these two. So AAC should be just fine as well. So another important thing is the sound signature or how the earphones is tuned. I mean, I use the Boat Rockers 335 with aptX HD, but I find the sound tuning pretty bad. So just by looking at the codecs, you cannot really make your purchasing decision. So the takeaway here is don't just look at the chipsets or the codecs alone. While it's good to have better codecs and chipset, but make sure the product meets your other expectations as well. Now the driver size is touted as a big feature in these ad campaigns, and it seems a lot of people go by this feature alone. Yes, it's good if you have a good quality bigger driver, but that doesn't alone define anything. For example, I tried the Oppo W31 which had 7mm drivers, but the sound quality was just really good. In fact, it was comparable to the Oneplus Buds which has the 13mm drivers. So like I said, the sound signature also matters a lot. You may have the bigger driver size, but it may still sound terrible if it is not done properly. So broadly there are three different designs, one with the stem like the white ones and the other one without the stem like the black one. Also these stemmed models also come in two variations, half in-ear design and typical in-ear design with the ear tips. So two factors become very important, the mic and calling and the comfort in choosing the design or the model. Generally, the stem design models seem to have a better calling experience because they are generally close to your mouth, so the audio pickup is generally better. So getting the stem design model is a safer bet for slightly better calling experience. Also in terms of comfort, half in-ear design models may not suit everyone, so make sure you try them before you buy them, or for a safer bet, get the in-ear design models. So let's talk about the active noise cancellation on the budget. I've used the AirPods Pro and also tested the budget Oppo W31 and the recent Mi Neck Band Pro. All in all, I would say that the budget ANC is not complete gimmick. It does work. I mean, just to give you a real instance, my neighbors were doing some drilling stuff, and with these on, it was a lot more bearable. Obviously, I could still hear it, but it was a lot less headache. But if you're serious about ANC, I doubt you buy them. It's best to invest in some proper headphones with ANC, which works much better. So the gaming mode is available on almost every earphones these days. For a gamer, a wireless experience is invaluable, particularly when you have no headphone jacks these days. So the marketing makes them think that they can happily get rid of the wires. But hear me out, I tried a bunch of these earphones with gaming mode. Yes, the latency was reduced quite a bit, which is impressive on some earphones, but still I choose to use a wired earphones. Well, the latency is only one factor, but it's not the only thing. The more important thing is the sound imaging, which basically tells you where the sound is coming from. So you could pinpoint that. This is very important in games like PUBG or Call of Duty, where you track the footsteps. While these Bluetooth earphones do well in latency, but this is where I feel they let me down. The sound imaging is not that great, so I end up choosing wired earphones. I still haven't found a perfect Bluetooth gaming earphones in the budget, but for casual gaming these are pretty good. So if you are a serious gamer, you should kind of get a more expensive Bluetooth gaming earphones. So let's talk about the sound quality. So obviously sound is the most important thing, but it's a thing of a personal taste. For example, just watch this video from B-Bomb, who thinks the Mi earphones are overall better, whereas Geeky Ranjit rates these higher, which is the exact opposite. So neither of them are right or wrong here. It's that subjective experience. So you need to calibrate your taste with the reviewer as well, which can actually help you to some extent. Now brands choose to tune earphones with different sound signatures depending on who they are targeting. So it helps in knowing a bit about a brand, a series or a product. For example, Sony has this XB series which is known for extra bass. Realme Boat offers a more bassy sound in general. OnePlus was known for a more flatter sound in terms of bass, so they had to come up with these bass editions on their neckbands. And the OnePlus Buds and Buds Z were not that flat, so they did improve on the bass. Realme in general has more bassy sort of earphones like Realme Buds Wireless or their budget wired earphones. Now extra bass doesn't always mean it's good, it has to be done right. So I personally like a more balanced sound where the bass is decently good while the mids stand out a bit with a crisper high tones that doesn't get too harsh. I feel the OnePlus Buds C fits well within my taste. So sound quality is like a good recipe with all the right ingredients. So don't just look at the driver size or the chipset or the codec, but look at the overall product and also look at the sort of reviews that you resonate with. That should help you choose the right product with good sound quality that suits your taste. So let's look at some of the important and practical stuff. Looking at the budget, if your budget is around 1 to 1.5k, make sure it at least has the IP rating. And if it's around 1.5 to 2.5k, you can expect weird detection sensors that auto play pause. If your budget is around 2.5 to 4k, you can expect aptX, a dual mode, even maybe ANC these days. So if your budget is around 4 to 5k, make sure it has the wireless charging. Honestly, I don't see the reason to spend over 5k on these earphones unless they are AirPods. If you are in the Apple ecosystem, that's a different story, but unless you are an audiophile who wants the absolute best, or if you're someone looking for the absolute best microphones, I don't really see the reason to spend over 5000 rupees on these TWS earphones. I'm going to drop links to some of my recommendations. You can check them out in the description. It does help the channel. And guys, this video took a lot of effort, so please like this video. Also subscribe to the channel. Thanks for watching. I'll see you soon.